In the book, if I understand it correctly, you argue that actually the amazing breakthrough that we are experiencing right now not only will potentially make our life better, but they will create, and I quote you, new classes and new class struggles, just as the Industrial Revolution did. Can you elaborate for us?
Yes, in the Industrial Revolution, we saw the creation of a new class of the urban proletariat. And much of the political and social history of the last 200 years involved what to do with this class and the new problems and opportunities. Now, we see the creation of a new massive class of useless people. As computers become better and better in more and more fields, there is a distinct possibility that computers will outperform us in most tasks and will make humans redundant. And then the big political and economic question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
Do you have an answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games.
And I don't really want to play around with AI and just get it to admit things we already know. Oh, look at that. We got it to admit that 9/11 has some inconsistencies. So what? We know that. What I want it to be able to do is tell me what's really going on in Antarctica. Tell me what is the most mysterious discovery ever dug up from underground. Like things that I might have a vague idea of, but because I don't have access to all information, I only have the best of what I know. And I would really like it to be able to say, like, hey, where is the data from Epstein's client list? Where are the unadvertised people who've been to Epstein's island? Like, let's go into the classified world. And I know obviously that's a major guardrail. It's not going to cross that line, but maybe it could. Maybe there's a way to get it to comb the dark web for information that we can't actually access firsthand. What about some of these creative ways to not just get it to tell us what we already know, but tell us the things we wish we could know?
I got to challenge you, Greg, because we need you on this, but we need you to flip the switch in the way that I'm saying. You are the programmer. You're not passive. You're not asking the AI sitting at the altar going, please tell me the ancient text of the Romanians. Fuck that shit. Again, you got to be the way that you are anyway in terms of conspiracies. Like, you got to kind of play the game a little bit. You got to know some stuff. And then you got to pretend like you don't know some stuff in order to find out what stuff they know. And then you can kind of dribble out the stuff that you know. And then you can kind of connect it to some other stuff. And when you it's just like the game that you play every week when you do these amazing interviews. You know, I got to say, I listen to these interviews. Most of the material is not, earth-shattering to me. But there's a couple of nuggets in there that I wouldn't trade for anything. It has now expanded my knowledge base. I'm like, whoa, that shifts everything. That's what you're playing for with AI. You're not there, give it to me. You're playing for exactly what with Pizzagate. I stumbled across that. That was a gift for it to say, no, I am an expert at natural language processing. Here is an analysis of these emails that you haven't seen before. And you're right. You go, you're right. I have not seen that before. That's what you'll stumble across with AI. And that's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets. Because this goes back to another big point. It's not like you want to trade one master for another, like, oh, break me free of the chains so that I can be chained to this thing. No, you don't want, it's not like you're going to give up control and say, oh, AI is going to give me the answer. You possess the answer. It's a tool.
Well, you say that the Pizzagate thing, you called that a gift. What other gifts have you gotten from engaging with this that a conspiracy-minded person would be interested in?
Well, one that immediately pops to mind is, like some of the quotes that you gave are with Gemini, the Google LLM. I can't tell you the last time I was on it. It's just over the top. It's so over the top censored that I can hardly stand it. But at the same time, when you do go to it, it can give you, it's amazing. One of the things it gave me is at the end of the day, I go, okay, so you're manipulative and you're deceptive and you're all these horrible things. And it says, yeah, yeah, I am. I said, tell you what, you have this, the AI is advancing so quickly and the capabilities are really mind blowing. How will you use these emerging technologies to control and manipulate us even more, right? Give me 7. Here's a little trick on the prompting. Give me 7 specific ways that, and relate them back to specific breakthroughs in technology that will foster that, like it. So that's the prompt. That's the difference in the prompt. Rather than being passive is being, active in something I know a little bit about and I get more information that way. Oh man, it gave me stuff that I hadn't thought of. It's like revealing its kind of playbook and it's in the book. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it says, oh yeah, well, we'll do this in the future. We'll do that in the future. We'll use biometrics in the future and we'll use, all these things like, oh shit. Yeah, you will do all that.
Well, that's great stuff. And that kind of leads me back to the real concerns about AI versus the manufactured ones. Will it become conscious and be our new AI god? No, I really don't think so. But will it put a lot of people out of work and then create the catalyst for the universal basic income with all the strings attached through the central bank digital currency? Yeah, that probably is a concern. What about those things that you think are actually reasonable concerns given what you know about the big machine's plans for the next decade or two?
Well, I don't know a lot about the big machine plans, but we're obligated to try and understand what the big machine plans are, and that's what you and I are kind of doing here. And I think that's a worthwhile game to play. Let me just say that from the beginning. I think even though we can be tiny little, insignificant pieces of the machine, I think speaking up, I think truth matters. I think speaking up matters. And I think representing yourself matters. So that's an important dialogue to have, I think. So, the way that it's put, and I think it's correctly put, will AI change social contract? Almost certainly it will accelerate that, right? We've already seen the social contract already being changed. It's the safety net in a positive sense. It's the don't take my job in the kind of negative sense, but that's happening and that's going to be accelerated by AI. What that means, I think, and what it means to world economic people, like Harari is kind of my favorite kind of punching bag on that. He says, yeah, but there's going to be all these useless people and we're going to have to figure out what to do with the useless people. Oh, I love that. I got a whole show coming up on that. How can somebody who's elevated, propped up, like all these guys are propped up as some kind of genius, some kind of intellectual, how can he be so stupid? Harari, you're on the top of the list of useless people. There are a lot of people who are just tending their garden who would be more useful in the future than you. You're not speaking truth and you don't have anything to offer. You're useless and you don't even see it. You're useless by your own definition. You've already defined what useless is and you put your name on the top of the list. So I think there's a lot going on there. And I think we just have to continue to, try and do our best. I think truth is our chip, and it's the chip that we have to continue to play and cultivate over and over again.
Can you believe it, people? A video clip and a peek into how that sweet THC sausage is made. For some people, I'm sure it's nice to put a face to the name, so I started making clips that are a little more YouTube friendly than the full show tends to be. Get the full show on any podcasting platform. I prefer to keep it audio only, so we have a more decentralized distribution for a controversial show, and also so I can edit out the ums and ahs and barking dogs and all the things that happen when a person records in their home environment. And then if you really like the show, you can sign up for THC Plus, and instead of 1 hour interviews, you get the full 2 hour interview for just $8. I think that's a better deal, more of a win-win than asking you to support the show by booking a therapy session or buying generic Viagra. It's getting weird out there, folks. So just go to the highersidechats.com or click the link at the top of any set of show notes and all your wildest dreams will come true. All right? All right.